guys. How y'all feeling?
You don't happen to have any more of the boom boxes to give away, do you?
Oh man, I probably could get you one, John Moore, for real.
Talk to me about what fight week is like for you, man. At this point in your career, I mean, you've been doing this for so long, top of the game for so long. I mean, are there nerves? Are there excitement? Is there what is the emotion of a fight week like for you?
I'm excited. Obviously, we all get nervous, and the guys who said they're not nervous at all is probably a dangerous spot to be in, right? This game requires a certain amount of nerve. But my excitement definitely outweighs any level of nervousness. I feel like I just saw you guys not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I like this rhythm. I like this pace that I'm on.
Nice. You talked about the reason you wanted this fight is because he seemed like the more dangerous position, who's got records to break and things. I would think you take the easier fight, take the guy you think is less dangerous,
right.
because it's safer. You feel better about it.
Right.
Why is that not the attitude?
There's a little strategy behind it. I feel like a guy so young in Dominick Reyes, he's only going to get better. Right? He's so new in the game. So I want to take him now while he's still fairly inexperienced, and I think we all know that I do better in rematches. So when he does come back, hopefully I can dominate him even more in even more dominating fashion than I am going to on Saturday.
Right.
And then the other half of it is just striking while he's hot. He is hot right now, and like I said at the press conference, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait too long. I want to give people the fights when both fighters are hot, and he's hot, and so that's what I'm giving the people.
You said yesterday, I kind of got the idea that you weren't interested in Corey Anderson. Like, it didn't excite you. But yesterday you said he's got a chip on his shoulder that you want to chew on a little bit.
I want to eat it.
So if he wins, I mean, is that a fight that does excite you?
Yeah, absolutely. Corey Anderson, he's extremely versatile. And just the way he went in there with full confidence against Johnny Walker and just chewed him up, it shows me that he has that fire that I'm looking for.
John, when Reyes has said a few things this time, I know it doesn't necessarily annoy you, but are you just confused in the things he says? Like he says, he hasn't fought an athlete like me, which, I mean, like you said yesterday, everyone in the UFC is probably a good athlete.
Yeah.
And then he said, I know how to study tape, and he's talking to the team that's most famous for studying tape in MMA. Are you confused at the choices of angles he's taking in this build-up?
Yeah, I think he's reaching. And my job is just to call him out on his silly comments. Like when a guy is hanging on to these wild ideas to Dave, do you mind if I get like a small coffee? Thank you. Yeah, I woke up this morning. I didn't drink any water. Woke up pretty late. I'm glad I got a lot of sleep though. Yeah, I think he's reaching. He's trying to hang on to these ideas to like pump himself up, and my job is just to take his ideas away and send him into the fight with nothing, pretty much. And it's easy to do that because like when you say things like Weidman beat Anderson and I beat Weidman, this is going to give me the magic that I need. What are you freaking talking about? Like silly shit like that, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, or you haven't fought an athlete, or you haven't fought a Latino, and like all this stuff, like it's about race. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? It's like, it's about skill setting. I've fought guys from all over the world, different ethnicities and different cultures behind them, and it has made no difference. Why do you So he's just silly. He's reaching for anything he can find, and let him have it.
Have you noticed that when you called him out saying, why have you got to bring up party favours, that he sort of immediately stopped going that route and he didn't want to talk trash anymore?
Yeah.
So do you think this, like you said, he's just trying to find any sort of identity he can to get into this fight?
I think he knows that he's over his head, and he knows that he may be. I don't want to say that he doesn't belong here. I don't know. I think he doesn't think before he speaks. That's ultimately what it is. And then he finds himself backtracking. Like if you watch the Ariel Helwani interview when Ariel asks him what you mean about the athlete thing, and how he was like, you just, if you don't get it, I guess you just don't understand. It's just like, you can't even back up his silly thoughts, I just think he needs to slow down, think before he speaks. I mean, even with the bipolar thing, he called me bipolar. It's like, do you know how many people in the world are losing their homes, losing their marriages, losing their jobs? Like, bipolar is something that can come onto you in your later years in life. It's like, it's a very serious mental illness. And the fact that he just rattles friggin' things like that out of his mouth. It's just, he's an asshole, really.
You won your first world title in 2011, I think, and he made his pro debut in 2014. Even if you win on Saturday, we're now reaching the era where guys are fighting you who grew up watching you. It was always said about GSP, one of the reasons why he's the best of all time is he beat like 3 generations. You, potentially, if you do this for 10 more years, could beat 4 generations. Is that something you think about?
I haven't really thought about it, no, but my goal is just to be here for an extremely long time, a very long time. I want to be here for the whole next decade, and I want to be the champion for this next decade. I look at Daniel Cormier as inspiration. For him to be the champion at 40 years old, dominating guys much younger than him, he lets me know that if I do the right things, thank you, sir. He lets me know if I do the right things and really take care of myself, there's no reason why we can't keep up with this next generation of fighters, or this next decade of fighters. So that's the goal, that's the motivation. Thank you for the motivation, Daniel Cormier.
You appeared on ESPN yesterday with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith. And
yeah.
Seemed like an entertaining interview for yourself.
Yeah, I think they wanted it to be a little bit more hairy than I allowed it to be.
Do you think it's more hairy, or they're just trying to appeal to a general audience and perhaps those cornering Khabib?
I think Max was definitely trying to lay it on me, for sure. I don't think any of the questions he asked were softballs. I think he was trying to be a little controversial with me, and I was really proud of myself for the way I handled the situation. I definitely felt like I took the high road.
There was a thing with Stephen A. Smith and Joe Rogan recently where Stephen A. Smith said stuff about Don Cerrone, Joe Rogan said he doesn't really understand MMA, so he shouldn't say this comment. Do you think people like Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith have a responsibility to better understand the sport when they cover it?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you guys are going to, hats off to Stephen A. Smith, by the way. Always been, I think he's a tremendous reporter, but you're absolutely right. I think he does need to do more homework. You need to go back and maybe watch some of those Pride fights. You need to go back and start at UFC 1 and really do your homework. That way you know not only who we all are, but you know positioning, you know technique, you know a few submission names. I doubt they're at that level, and I would love to encourage them to get at that level. If you're a true professional, that's what you do.
So a lot of the narrative has been focused on Dominick's undefeated record, but not so much about you being the first guy that's undefeated that he's faced.
Right.
Do you think something's lost in that?
Yeah, something's lost in that, but I think it's the people reaching to build him up. He's undefeated. At the end of the day, if you look at who he's undefeated against, he's never been in a situation like this. Fighting someone who's not only undefeated as well, but somebody with just, double the experience as him. Everyone's talking about his athleticism, but I come from a family of all world champions. So I'm cool kind of taking the back road and letting people build him up. I don't feel like I really need it. I feel like my work speaks for itself.
And before the OSP fight, you told me, you look at fighting like a test.
Yeah.
So how would you categorize the level of difficulty of the test in preparing for a Dominick?
Dominick Reyes is a test. He's definitely a test. I felt like I needed to get physically stronger at this camp, so I really worked on my physical strength a lot. He's just brought out something else in me. I've studied so extensively for this fight. For him to be so kind of inexperienced, there's something inside of me that lets me know, like, John, you cannot take this guy lightly. In a way, he could be more dangerous than the guys that are more experienced just because he doesn't know any better. You know what I mean? Like, when you listen to him talk, he's so emotional, he's so all over the place. He just wants to fight. He doesn't really care if he wins. He doesn't care if he loses. He just wants to give it all he got. So, like, when you're fighting someone like that, you got to take a step back and, like, you're dealing with a wild dog here. You know what I mean? You can't just reach in there and get bit. You got to come at him with a really strategic approach, and that's exactly what I'm prepared for. He's gotten me and my team's complete undivided attention, and we're taking him very, very seriously.
Jon, do you think you would have given him that respect if he hadn't kind of riled you up a little bit, if he hadn't thrown the verbal jabs your way? Do you think you would have still given him that amount of respect, or does that make you give a guy more respect when it's like a rivalry almost?
I feel like I know a lot of guys like him. And living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I feel like I know a lot of guys like him. And one thing you know when you live in Albuquerque is he's gonna bring it. He's gonna bring it. There's guys, I see guys out at the club who don't know a lick of martial arts, and the culture is like, yo, I'll fight you, bro. I don't care. I'll give it all I got. If you knock me out, so what? So I know, okay, there's a similar vibe, but he's actually backed up by some martial arts techniques. So I know that I got to bring it, and that's exactly what he's going to get.
Early on, he was talking about interviews, like he said he was going to knock you out. And since, like, similar to other statements, he's backed off of that.
Yeah.
Now he's kind of said, I just see, he's getting my hand raised. You think that's like something going on mentally with him, where he's like not as confident anymore? Or?
I think he's just he's a very emotional fighter. He's a very emotional person. You know, if he's sad, he'll come on. Like if you watch some of his interviews, it seems like he can't even breathe. You know, like the anxiety and the emotions kind of taking over him sometimes. And then other times he's laughing and playful and just speaking out of his ass. You know what I mean? One thing about saying that you're going to knock somebody out is what you're doing is you're putting all your eggs in one basket. I never claim that I'm going to finish the fight. I say that I would like to finish the fight. And I can predict that I'm going to finish the fight, but I never guarantee people that I'm going to finish the fight. When you say that you're going to knock a person out, and when you find yourself going into round 4, and I'm still here looking at you, and you're breathing hard and I'm not, it can cause a sense of panic, like, oh boy, my plan didn't work. I thought I was going to get a first round knockout, and here we're going into round 2. You get what I'm saying? So he's just adding pressure for himself to say he's going to knock out. I'm like, hey, I'm going to find a way to win. Well, what round are you going to win, Jon? Or how are you going to beat him? Is it going to be a submission? I try not to never claim that type of stuff because that adds pressure on me, and we don't need added pressure at this level. So I think that's why he's backing up on the idea of knocking me out. It's like, first of all, there's only one person who's wobbled me in a fight, and I mean, if you look at my last fight against Thiago Santos, Thiago would come running forward with left hook, right hook, uppercut, boom, 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 boom. Every single one of his shots were knockout blows. And something happens when I'm in there where my senses are higher, and I'm able to just boom, 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 boom. And it's not even technical weaving, boxing weaving. It's just like it's a gift. It's a gift, man. I feel like Ali had it too a little bit. He could do like this and just make you miss somehow, right? And I feel like I have that too. And I don't think people give me credit for that. It's like very rarely do I really get caught clean with a shot. And Dominick's the type of guy where he's not going to be running at me like Thiago Santos with 5-punch combinations. Dominick's going to wait back, and he's going to throw a straight left, or he's going to throw a round left. It's like one shot at a time, one shot. So if I can block a 5-shot combination from Thiago, I'm pretty sure I can block his very basic left shot, left kick, low kick, mid kick, left shot. It's like, so I don't think he realizes the level of defense he's getting ready to go in there against. No one's talking about that, and I'm just like,
Jon, it seems every time you say, right, I'm not talking about Israel Adesanya anymore, he does an interview and mentions your name again. Where are we with that? He's going to be here this week, you might even cross paths. Is that something you'd even like to happen, just to be like, are we going to do this, are we not going to do this?
No, honestly, I have no interest in Israel at the end of the day. Anderson Silva was a guy that everyone wanted to see me fight, and I never wanted to deal with because I had so much respect with Anderson. And I feel the same way with Izzy, but it's not coming from a place of respect. It's like my career isn't based around fighting him. Him to fight me, it would be huge for his resume. But me, I feel like I already have so many legends under my resume, and he's not even a legend. You know what I mean? We've all seen that video of him fighting some Alex guy and catching a clean over here, right? So he's very human to me. Like he's not this special guy that. I don't see what everybody else is seeing in him. I think, his whole anime stuff and how he's all antic with his hands and all this crazy stuff, I think that's kind of entertaining a certain fan base. But for me, it's like, dude, I would slap you. Get out of here, kid.
Do you think you ever got the credit for becoming a world champion so young? Because I think the older we get, the more we realize how young 23 actually is.
Yeah. Honestly, to be dead honest, I feel like it's going to be harder to break that record because of where martial arts is going. When I joined in the sport, I wanted to get Shogun, who's definitely an honorable guy to get it from. I mean, he was very versed. He had great jiu-jitsu, great striking, but his wrestling, there was a huge hole in his wrestling. And I just so happened to be a wrestler, and I filled in that hole, took him down, and ultimately pretty much finished the fight on the ground, right? I think in the future, you're not going to be finding champions with holes like that. I think the future elite wrestling, boxing. So in order for a 23-year-old It's game or else. 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 I don't see anybody else beating it.
But in terms of all the out of the cage stuff that you've gone through over and over again, I think everyone wants to pin it on you and stuff like that. But at 23, 24, 25, even 26, you're still a young man. You're still learning. You're still growing up. You know?
Yeah.
Do you think you ever got a fair shake about that?
I can't play a poor me role. You know, I've done a lot of wild stuff. You know what I mean? I can't play poor me. But at the same time, you know, sometimes I think about it this way. You know, my little brother and my older brother are in the NFL, and from the time they left college, they had programs to really show them how to be a professional athlete. The NFL, their team provided them with a driver that they can call 24 hours. In the NFL, there's a chaplain that they can call 24 hours. There's group meetings. There's fellow guys to be around to encourage you. I was just kind of thrown into like, okay, here you're fairly famous now, and here's some money too. You know, it's like when you come from nothing, and at that age, it can be a lot to handle. It can be a lot to juggle. I don't think I had enough mentors in my life at that point. And I'm glad I finally figured it all out.
It just reminds me of like child stars, like when like a kid actor or Justin Bieber gets famous and they go off the rails, everyone goes, well, they're just a kid making all this money. At 23, you are a kid in this game.
Yeah.
I wonder if you ever felt like that they never gave you that sort of asterisk of he is a young man.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people look back on some of the things I've done and say, you know, he's young, and I'm still fairly young. I mean, at 30, I feel like there's a lot more lessons I can learn. But at the end of the day, with great responsibility, you know, with great talent comes great responsibility, and it was my job to figure it out a little faster. And they say guys mature a little slower than women, right? So I'm at 30. I'm finally starting to feel like, okay, John, I'm getting it. I'm starting to get how not to fuck up. Excuse me. And let's see how it goes.
John, you mentioned Australia earlier this week.
Yeah.
Wanting to, fight over there, fight overseas, kind of expand your brand. How important is it to you to have not just, one, but multiple fights, in different countries, so different audiences can experience?
You know, I'm hearing rumors. That for this arena, there's never been more people in attendance, and what that's showing me is that maybe I need to step outside of Las Vegas and start fighting in these markets where people won't see me too often. I think that's gonna be important. So, yeah, if I can possibly break numbers here in Houston, I can only imagine what could happen if I went to Australia or one of these other countries where they never expect to see me. I think that people will come out, and that's what it's about: giving love, sharing it, and spreading this.
Adesanya's a big draw in Australia.
Yeah, he is. I bet I'd be an even bigger.
I know you talked with Kamaru kind of like jokingly about
I would love to, man. I would find out, all you guys are gonna know what type of warrior I am.
John, back in 2011.
We gotta get ready to go. We have to.
Sorry.